don't blow the lead. Don't
Right.
throw any interceptions. Don't do turnovers. Just don't let them score. Like, we have, that question is so interesting because we have little to no expectations for this man. Our goal overall is just don't f us up. Don't send us into a recession. Don't have us in World War III. Don't make me a slave. What up? It's Three Brothers No Sense, your favorite barbershop style podcast. I am Tavares Ferguson, aka Ferg, joined my co-host Buff and Razi. Hold on, fella. Maybe I should stop giving my government name. I'm the only person to give their government name on here. Can't deny none of this.
It's Ferg. Everybody knows you as Ferg anyway. It don't really matter.
I'm just Ferg.
Yeah.
What it do, fellas? Who wants to jump in?
As I guess creators, one of the many creators of this podcast world, I just want to give some props to Shannon Sharp, man, Club Shay Shay. I think he started like 4 years ago, and he obviously had, I would say, one of the most viral interviews of 2024 back in January with Cat Williams, and just recently, he had the Vice President of the United States on there. I just think that's a big deal. I know other podcasts have had former President Trump, but I believe they've been around a lot longer. But for Shannon to really find his career post athlete, post football career, it's been dope to see, man. So I just want to, I don't know if he'll ever hear this, but it's out there. Just want to give him his props, man. Club Shay Shay doing this thing, man. Ferg, I am sorry to report. We just finished carving pumpkins, me, Jasmine, and Tab. And our tradition is while we carve pumpkins, we have the Great Pumpkin playing in the background. And I was hoping for you, but once again, it didn't happen, bro. He didn't see the Great Pumpkin.
I remember one year.
He gets closer each year.
Yeah, I feel like it was 87. He saw the Great Pumpkin. I feel like there was one time. I almost remember him saying the Great Pumpkin. I feel like I've seen him Great Pumpkin once or twice. So, he's one.
But I ain't gonna hold y'all, man. That's all I got. I just want to tell the listeners, man, thank you for listening. And just ask you guys, if you haven't already, subscribe to us on any podcast platform. And also download the free Inspire You on Air app and check us out on Contentville within that app. Three Brothers No Sense.
Yeah. I got a couple things, man. One is, you guys know Buff is a huge boxing fan. And for the folks out there that talk about MMA and how an MMA fighter could go in and whoop a boxer and this, that, and the other, well, we have a little bit of proof that is not the case, because Idris, I can't even say his last name, Andurshindov or whatever, he's a undefeated MMA fighter. He got in the boxing ring in his debut match and was getting whooped. And he got whooped so bad that he hit old buddy with his opponent with a roundhouse kick to the head, knocked him out, got disqualified. He just was like, he wasn't going to take the whooping and lose the match. So, he was
at
I just want to say, yeah, you're not going to just huh?
I was worried Conor McGregor was going to try something like that when he fought Floyd. I was worried about that.
Yeah.
But I think he's at a disadvantage though, right? Like, you're at a disadvantage. A boxer is a pure boxer. It's MMA, you use your stand-up game as part of it, and half your stand-up game might be kicks and knees and stuff like that, and the other part might be ground. As a boxer, you're a pure pugilist, and he's at a severe disadvantage. You put a boxer in an MMA ring, I don't we know what he can't do. He can't defend against a spinning around his kick to the head.
That's true. That's
So
true. It's one of those things, man, that but a lot of times folks who practice MMA or they watch MMA, they swear that they can get in a boxing ring and actually outbox a boxer. For some reason, they think that they have enough skills to do that. And I just want to say, Conor McGregor, like Floyd, if they are in their element in their sport, you're not going to walk into their sport with they're the highest of the heights of their sport and just go in and whoop them. It just doesn't work that way. Like you have to know that sport
stupid,
and be able to move in that sport.
I'm assuming they've had too many roundhouse kicks to the head or something to think that's just like recently. And I don't know if I was seeing during the Olympics where they show like the male gymnasts and the female gymnasts trying to compete. They're at the top of their fields in each other's sports. They're both gymnasts, but it's different training. There's different regimen. There's different muscles that are used. Mm-hmm. And some of maybe the more simpler skills, they pick up on after the third or fourth try. But a whole routine, you can't do it. Yep. So, yeah, but keep trying. I mean,
yeah.
It is what it is.
One other thing I wanted to kind of talk through, man. I want to, all the construction workers out there, road workers and everything, be worried. Everybody was talking about AI was going to come take all these jobs, but drones and robots and things like that are coming for that. China just completed 150 kilometers of road. They resurfaced it with no humans on the road during the construction. It was all drones and robots the entire time. Resurfaced 150 kilometers. So just be careful, man. Be on the lookout. We know we need those jobs, but at the same time, be ready, man. Those jobs may be going away, and you're gonna have to do construction on some other types of things. But when it's something that's like flat, simple, that type of thing, that's straightforward and very repeatable, then you can automate it pretty easily. So just kind of be on the lookout for that because it's coming. Automation is coming for those types of jobs. And finally, I just wanted to say, Pennsylvania, there's a school board there that are idiots. They approved to cut windows in the bathroom so that they can make sure that like boys weren't using the girls' bathroom and girls weren't using the boys' bathroom. I'm like,
awesome.
Yeah, that's
sarcasm.
That's stupid. So the ACLU is actually suing the school system, trying to overturn that decision. But at the same time, why would you ever think that's cool to be like, yeah, let's put windows in the bathrooms so we can see who's in the bathrooms at any given point? And I get it. They probably have stalls and they can go in the stalls. And so they're behind the stall. It just doesn't make sense to me. And so I just wanted to throw that out there, just let you guys know that there are plenty of stupid laws that are still getting passed. And so just watch out for them.
All right. I'm going to be very simple today. So mine are about a couple of things. For anybody who has not caught on to the Penguin, you're missing out.
Yes.
It's definitely is up there. They're just finished episode 6. They haven't missed yet. I dare say it has the potential to go down as one of the greats. Like I haven't seen them miss. It's not too over the top. You feel the Penguin. You feel a lot of stuff. It's really well written. So check it out. Did you guys see Beetlejuice?
I have not seen Beetlejuice yet. I got to go see it. You guys liking it?
It's a Tabitha and Jasmine movie. I just was there. But it's it is what it is. It's cool.
Yeah, I mean it was nostalgia. It brought back some, they tried to play on with the 90s and all this stuff. I don't know how long it took me to realize that the actress who played Lydia's daughter was Wednesday. From the Netflix Wednesday show. So I'm like, she just seems like she has this demeanor down packed. And of course, was Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
So, but it was pretty good. We were trying to watch some Halloween movies and stuff, and I didn't want anything that was too scary for the kids. But I've said this a couple of times, and we talked about it on post about people getting out to vote. I really feel like this election is going to be a cluster. The closer we get to it, I don't feel like there's been this much tomfoolery in prior elections. Maybe I'm wrong, Buff. You pay more attention to those things, but it's like every time I turn around, it sounds like a setup.
It's pretty crazy, man. I think it's getting worse and worse. This Madison Square Garden rally that Trump did had the comedian out there talking about, black people carving watermelons and talking about Puerto Rico's a pile of trash in the ocean. I mean, he was bad. He was really, really bad. And people are trying to say, oh, it's just he was a comedian, but ultimately you still have to know what comedian you're bringing out. And it's just
he knew.
They knew the type of comedian. They knew what the jokes that he was probably was going to use, and they were okay with it. And it's really turning a lot of people off. I'm happy to see some of the exit polls that are coming out, and all the exit polls are coming out really, really strong for Kamala. As with the early voting, but again, it's early voting. Democrats traditionally vote early with early voting, so it can't tell you too much. But I'm liking what I'm seeing. But I do think the whole stop the steal is going to be another. I don't know if it's going to be another January 6th, but because Trump's not in office right now to be able to kind of call people around and do that. But I do think it's going to be, like you say, it's going to be a cluster. It's going to be a huge cluster once whoever is announced.
You're better than me. I think it might be January 6th or worse. He has nothing to lose at this point.
Yeah, because he's going to jail if he do lose.
Yeah, he has more to lose, I guess. Now, yeah, I'm taking off Wednesday. I'm prepared not to be around people Wednesday. And that's so sad that it's just that disheartening, where it's like, if this goes the way I think it can, then it's like, I just don't want to be around people. So I know that first election, I was hurt.
Buff, you might not be able to talk about it. Are you guys like beefing up security for the 7th or the 6th or whatever, the day after? Or y'all just kind of, you can't talk about it?
Okay. No comment.
I actually think there will be many January 6th around the country in the swing states. I think he will mobilize. If he loses, he will mobilize his supporters to go to Arizona, Pennsylvania, Nevada, Wisconsin, Michigan. I don't think he's going to lose North Carolina or Georgia, but maybe he'll mobilize them to go to where they're counting those votes and intimidate them. We actually saw some of that, and he didn't even mobilize the people in 2000 with Bush. Like, people went to one of those polling sites in Florida and were yelling and screaming outside the doors. And I think it happened in Arizona back in 2020. So I could see, I think instead of waiting until January 6th, they're going to try to get ahead of it.
November 6th.
Yeah.
Listen, I legit fear, like, election day is just the eye of the storm, actually. Like, we're in the beginning of the storm now. It's made landfall. You mentioned the Madison Square Garden speech and things like that. Election day will be the eye. And then once the results start coming in, I don't know, man. It's going to be bad, though. It could be bad. I don't want to speak that it's going to be bad. But it could be bad because we're dealing with someone that doesn't concede, that doesn't think he ever loses at anything, doesn't think he's ever wrong. And he in fact accuses his opponents of doing what he does. He accuses his opponents of cheating, of stealing, of fraud. So, and it riles his base up. And so, who knows what we're going to see.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a dangerous there's no way that things are going to turn out positive either way, right? If he wins, it's going to be problems. People are going to be empowered. If he loses, people are going to feel pissed, and it's just these next few weeks are going to be very telling. And I wonder how it's going to play out in U.S. history.
One of the best tweets I saw was, I want a president that I forget. It was something to the extent
I get that.
I forget who my president is for a few days or weeks at a time. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, like
it was every day with him, bro. Like, if you have news alerts on your phone, I literally remember at one point during his administration, like looking at my phone because it had gotten an alert. Like what now?
Oh yeah, I remember that. You remember at the beginning, we thought he was going to go at it with, was it Russia or China? Because like that first like month or two, like this dude tripping. This might be World War II type thing.
Was it North Korea?
Maybe it was North Korea. That's what it was.
Before him and Kim Jong-un became besties, he was kind of like, talking greasy to him.
Yeah. And I'm like, this is our fearless leader.
I am seeing quite a few of my, I guess, friends and family members making social media posts and supporting him. And, I don't take the bait like a lot of people do. I just look at it.
Oh, yeah. It's so close to home. Yeah,
I look at the comments. I look at the comments, laugh, and keep moving, but yeah, it's going to be close, man.
Well, yeah, that's all I really got. Let's go ahead and jump into it. Sophie, I heard her calling, so I'm assuming she's not here.
Yeah, she's here. Hold on one second. Let me go grab her.
Hi, here's your report.
Thanks, Jane. I wish I could hire a whole team of yous.
Try posting a job on LinkedIn. It's the world's largest professional network. Unlike resumes, LinkedIn gives a real-time view into a candidate's skills, experiences, and more.
Huh, let's do it. You're irreplaceable, Jane, but another you would be great.
Find your perfect match with LinkedIn. Post your free job at linkedin.com/achieve. That's linkedin.com/achieve. Terms and conditions apply.
Clorox Sentiva smells like lavender. Cleans like Clorox. And feels like...
All right, that could go on for a while. Experience the long-lasting freshness of Clorox Sentiva. Now available in Clorox Sentiva Lavender Scented Bleach. Use as directed.
Sophia.
Hey there.
Sophia.
Good day, Frank.
How goes it?
It goes good.
Goes good.
Yeah. She has on her red carpet event where she should have wore red, but
they were specific. And I was like, they used the red carpet day. You're supposed to wear red. The red carpet day meant like dress for the red carpet, but I didn't have any like red carpet clothes I wanted to wear to school.
So she put on a button down.
First of all, who is they?
Her school.
The school.
So when you're supposed to wear red?
Supposed to wear red. Didn't know that.
And how didn't you know that, Sophia?
Because I didn't know that.
It's a middle school fail.
Better yet, we'll blame your daddy.
Yeah, see? That's what you gotta do.
Yeah.
Oh, she's in middle school now. Yeah, it's on her. I don't pay attention to none of that stuff no more.
You can blame him. He can always get blamed.
That's fine. That's why, and that is why we're blaming you.
Every time.
And that's why we're blaming you.
Yeah, that's what you get blamed.
You know, you cut off cold turkey.
I went shopping
Shame
for a
on you,
pair of
Razi.
camouflage pants.
Was that for today? Because TJ
Got you
was
some
wearing camouflage.
fatigues.
TJ was wearing camouflage this week.
But I
What is it
couldn't find
about? Is
You
it
guys-
Red Ribbon Week
You
for
guys
you
want the
guys?
joke?
Oh, wow.
Want
He
the
got
joke?
things to do.
My bad.
I was asking.
I
Johnny,
guess
you
we.
get
I guess
punch
we.
line?
I guess
You
we
get
do.
it? We got to work on the setup. She was like, I was looking for a pair of camouflage pants, but I couldn't find any.
Oh.
Because they're
It's hilarious.
Because they're
But
camouflage.
shush. There's a difference.
Ah.
Over all of your guys' head. So we're gonna do a different one.
Yeah,
'Cause
absolutely.
none of you guys caught it. Like at all.
Yeah.
Like zero.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Okay,
We were
where
in
do
the middle of conversation, so you know.
Well, like, where do cucumbers go on date night? The salad bar.
To a cool place.
I'm hilarious.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Okay. All right.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Love
Love
you.
ya.
You got to work on
All
the
right.
timing. You're going too fast.
All righty. Who would like to go first?
Buff, I don't know if you were going to ask this or not, but what I was going to do is I was going to play off of what you asked about the whole, what do we want out of Kamala? And I was going to ask the whole, what do we want out of Trump, right? Like if Trump wins, what do we want to see from his administration? Or so, because I don't think we asked that, right? We never got back to that one, right?
Correct.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So yeah, that's my question then. Is I want to know, previous episode we asked Buff asked us if Kamala won, what would we want to see like her pass or from her administration, and we don't know. It's still a 50-50. It's still a toss up right now. So I want to ask you brothers, the flip side of that is if Trump wins, what do you hope to see from his administration? Because we know we're going to get a whole lot of stuff that isn't good for us. Is there some things that you would want his administration to go ahead and pass and do?
I kind of want some of the similar things I wanted from her. And just to recap, I said I wanted some type of police reform. I wanted her to address the border. I wanted a black Supreme Court pick. And I wanted, which was wound up being a controversial take on our TikTok, but I wanted some type of marriage incentive. For whatever reason, people took that as being against single people. But whatever. From him, I want, and I would, well, I'm not going to say that part. I would want some type of Social Security. It needs to be addressed. We keep hearing about how it's running low, it's running a deficit. It's going to run out in, I think, the year 2036 or something like that, if it stays on this pace. So I want us to finally seriously address that. And since he's the so-called business money man, you know, even though I don't think he's very good at it, I'm sure a win like that in his mind would make him look good. So maybe Congress can come together, and that's something that they can work on in a bipartisan way. I still want the police reform, and believe it or not, when he was president, they tried to get that passed. At the time, the Democrats didn't want to give the Republicans their victory. I already know he's going to address the border. He's probably going to address the border in ways that are probably too far for my liking, but I do want it addressed in some type of way. And again, with the marriage incentive, that seems to be such a conservative type of thinking, you know, that I'm sure that could be relatively easy to pass as long as they don't, you know, make it where women have to get married or something crazy like that. Just an incentive, man. Like we want more money in the economy. You know, I'm looking out for me. I'm married. I want a bigger tax write-off. Basically what I'm saying. Yes, I want exactly. That's what I'm saying. So yeah, those 4 things, man.
Cool.
That's a very good question. And this is kind of coming off the top of my head, Razi. Buff kind of said a lot of things that I I thought, I want the same things I want from Kamala, right? But if I had to put a spin on this, I want him to prove me wrong. I want him to prove everything I've disagreed with him about, that maybe I was just wrong, right? First of all, I want him to, where he's basically said, almost like blacks, you got nothing to lose by coming over here to the Republican Party. I want to see a drastic improvement in the lifestyle of blacks in America. I don't know what that looks like, but to him, basically we need to move to the Republican Party. So him to show something that is specifically targeted to the black community, where we're like, man, we've been tripping. We should have voted for this dude a long time ago. Right? So those type things. So mine are all about proving me wrong. So where he talks about, you kind of talk about the border, Byron. So maybe he has a plan for the border. And I'm hoping his plan does decrease the crime rates, does help with the immigration problem, but in a way that improves the life of Americans, not just this hate speech and targeting immigrants. Like, maybe we're just playing scared and he has a plan, and maybe his toughness is how he starts off, and there's a way he develops this program that makes it better, and then it improves the crime rate, and we has less deaths with it decreases the fentanyl brought into the country and stuff like that, and we had less deaths and things of that nature. So maybe he has a plan. Maybe he's focused on something that I'm just missing it. He kind of mentioned, I think, defunding the Department of Education.
Mm-hmm.
I think get rid of it. I thought.
Oh, get rid of the Department of Education. Maybe he has a plan where getting rid of the Department of Education completely improves the education system as a whole nationwide. I think currently the U.S. is ranked, is either 11th or 13th worldwide in education. Maybe we've gotten too dependent on this, and it's a crutch that we don't know about. A lot of times change comes when you rip off the Band-Aid, and it's not easy for people. So maybe we're just used to this, and maybe we got it wrong. So it's
I love to hear him talking about that. I don't want to cut you off. I'm sorry about that, but I want to stop there before you jump to the next thing. On the Department of Education, it's so funny that they're like, we're gonna cut the Department of Education, but at the same time, he made a comment that if, say, California was teaching a certain thing, they wouldn't send them the money, and they wouldn't send money. And so I want to know who or is going to administer that money that goes to that school. It sounds like there would be some department that would be geared to make sure that money for education goes to where he wants it to go to. So I don't understand how he says he's going to cut the Department of Education, but then still manage the money in federal funds that go to schools. Unless he's just going to have another department do it, which then that department becomes the Department of Education. So it's just stupid when they say that we're going to get rid of the Department of Education in general. So I just wanted to throw that out there. I'm sorry for it. I just had to get that off my chest because it irks me.
Well, it's funny you say that, because he's going to find somebody. He's going to find somebody that he's going to put in charge of it. And when I think of that, I was joking with somebody a few weeks ago. This is for all my Harry Potter fans, where, oh my God, what was Umbridge's title? She was the High Inquisitor.
Yeah.
Basically, she was the person who, no matter what sense it made to anybody else, she had total autonomy to make decisions. And so that's what's going to happen. Donald Trump's going to find somebody who's like-minded and essentially make them the High Inquisitor of education. And every time I hear him say that, I laugh, because I think about him appointing somebody who's going to be this far right-wing anti-woke, bring prayer back into the schools, all these things to take the power away from the government, but at the same time using the government's power to do what they want to do. So that's what's going to happen. He's going to get a high inquisitor, essentially. Might be another clan member of his or something like that. I don't know. And then I think, because there's so many things, because he's this great businessman, some might even say the best of all times. He was actually talking to somebody and they were like, you know what, Trump, you're the best businessman that ever happened. And, how he speaks. I want to see him improve the economy and the wage gap, increase wages across the country, like find a way to all the stuff where he's complaining about. I want to see him fix it. Maybe he has a plan. Just maybe we're all, everybody else is wrong. Maybe this dude has a plan to make sure that the cost of living goes down, that people get a fair wage, that the money and the tax breaks he's giving to the rich somehow is going to trickle down to the middle and lower class people. Just maybe we're missing it. Maybe we didn't give him enough time for Trumponomics to take effect. And maybe this time he has nothing to lose and he's going to fix it all. And 40 years from now, we're going to say he's the best president that ever lived for the second time. I don't know. Maybe we got it wrong.
We'll see. That's all you got?
Yeah, I mean, I just want the things that he says he's going to do and everything that's wrong with the country that he mentions, I want him to fix that. And maybe we just got it wrong and I don't see the bigger picture. Prove me wrong.
I wanted to go into his policies and I really tried to dig in and look at, are there any of his policies that I'm okay with him passing? And the only two that I could think of that I would want to see him actually go through with is the immigration reform that you talked about, Buff. I hope that he would pass that same immigration bill. They can tweak it a little bit, make it more Trump-like if they want to, but I'm fine if it gets passed under him and he signs it and the immigration bill gets in there.
You talking about the one he blocked?
Yeah, the one he blocked. If they brought it right back to him and he signed it, I don't care, right? And he can put his name on the checks, whatever it is. But I want him to go ahead and pass that, right? So he can get a little bit more wall, because I think there is funding in there for more building of more walls and barriers and stuff like that in there. Because when people make fun of build the wall, we even make fun of it, right? And it's because of how Trump kind of describes it, and we know what he's thinking when he says build the wall. There are places that it makes sense to build a wall there and say, hey, you got to go around or you got to slow you down, but so that our drones or whatever can, have more of a chance to catch you crossing. Makes sense. Barriers make sense. I mean, that's why we put up concertina wire. That's why we put up, like barricades and things like that on military posts. So I get it. We're going to do that. But at the same time, that's not the end all be all. Building a wall is not going to stop immigration. So we need all the other things that bill had in it. And so I could see them taking a lot of the, road to citizenship and all of that out of it, or stripping it down to, a little bit. But whatever it is, I think the bill can come through. I want to see that passed. The only other thing that I would want him to actually pass off of his platform, because I get what you're saying, Ferg. We hope, prayers that what he's saying will actually happen. But knowing economics, I know supply side economics doesn't work. So his economic policy is not actually going to work. Every Republican in the last 35, 40 years has put us into a recession, has blown our deficits up because they keep cutting our taxes. And then supply side doesn't work, where you cut taxes, then all of a sudden you get this big boom from, like the economy. Just never works. So every Democrat has to come in, try to fix it, and then they get, labeled as saying, oh, you're raising taxes, and it's because they're trying to balance the budget. And then it goes, back to the Republicans once we swing back. And so I don't see that. I don't agree with his immigration policy of this mass deportations or anything like that. I don't want to see any of that. I don't think the education system or the Department of Education needs to get killed. I don't feel like his policies when it comes to changing everybody to to appointees instead of the normal civil servants that we have today. I just don't see any of that as good for anybody. So I don't want his policies to pass. The only other one that I could look at is larger HBCU funding. You talked about kind of something for Black Americans and everything. He talks about he wants to be the one that funds HBCUs and give the largest HBCU funding. Don't talk about it, be about it. We know that when he did give HBCU funding, it wasn't him, it was Congress, right? He had a zero budget in his actual presented budget. Congress went back and said no, and then he finally signed it, or he finally, administered it based on what Congress said the budget was going to be. So he didn't have anything to do with that. But now that he's taken it and he's kind of put it in his platform, I hope that he would look at what Kamala and Biden did and say, I'll see I can't remember how many billions they put into HBCUs, and I'll raise you whatever. So that's the only thing that I would hope that he would kind of come out and do based off of what he said he's going to do. But other than that, I just want him not to touch nothing. I don't want him to. He's not going to put us in a war because he's a bitch. But I really feel like the whole Ukraine and Israel and all of that, he might get forced into having to go to war, and that scares me a lot. Having him as the commander in chief there, so I'm just hoping that he can keep it in the rails and not take us to war, and then do those other two things. Other than that, just keep your hand off the wheel and let the adults in the room drive the car. So
nothing.
I said two things.
Nothing.
Two things.
It's like, hey, just don't fuck this up.
Right.
Yeah, that's crazy when you're looking at the leader of the free world. Like, hey, just give me a little bit. Just kick a couple extra points, kick a field goal. I just don't blow the lead. Don't throw any interceptions. Don't do turnovers. Just don't let them score. Like, we have that question is so interesting because we have little to no expectations for this man. Our goal overall is just don't fuck us up. Don't send us into a recession. Don't have us in World War III. Don't make me a slave. Like these are the expectations. Like this is a win. Those are wins. So
sad.
Who wants to go next?
I can, or if you have one, you can.
Well,
doesn't matter.
I'll jump into it because mine kind of goes off one of my answers. And it's about education. And I think I mentioned that the U.S. is, I want to say, the 11th or 13th in the world in education. And we had a very spirited debate on one of my takes. Well, one of my opinions.
Are we that high?
But, it all depends on the criteria, right?
I thought it was lower.
Yeah. And so it was about teacher pay. And two of us have wives in education. So, of course, we would like our wives and teachers to make more money, hands down. But what are your thoughts on teacher pay? Should it be raised? And if it is, are there any stipulations behind it? Is it a fair wage? And just giving you some context, the average starting salary for a teacher in the U.S. is right around $60,000, which is in line with the starting salary for college graduates with a bachelor's degree, as well as it puts them in the 60th percentile of earners nationally. So just saying the average is about $60K starting salary. What are your thoughts on?
And how many days?
We always say, because there's a teacher.
How many days do they work?
It's a teacher. Oh, hold on. There's a teacher shortage, I think.
Yeah. I think it's
They
180, 183 days or something like that versus, somewhere around 200 and some days for everybody else. So that's the other part. Most of them are 10-month employees, not 12. So, they get summers off and that type of thing. And so if you add that in, right, where they can do summer school and they get, to your point, right, 60,000, and if they add summer school, they can get another $15,000-$20,000 if they do summer school there a lot of times. So just want to throw that out there because
187 is the answer.
Yeah.
And do you think pay will improve it?
Do we think pay will improve the education that's given? I don't think so. I think teachers teach because they love to teach, right? Like they want to get paid and they want to get paid a fair wage. And I really do think teachers get paid generally a fair wage. Like you said, average is 60,000. And if they go and get a master's, it can get up to 80. I know teachers that have been doing it for 17, 18 years. They have a master's or a PhD and they're making over six figures. I know teachers that will go back in the classroom from administration. They don't want to be a assistant principal or principal because they can make more money in the classroom than they can be in a principal and be on a 10-month salary and get all the days off that administration doesn't get off, and they don't have to be there in the summer and all of that. So to your question, I don't think the answer is just raising wages. Now, I think, like you say, we're in a teacher shortage, wage pressure. That's how the economy works, right? When we can't find teachers, when people don't want to go in it, then that's how they can get it up. And it gets harder and it's harder to fill. Their wages will go up. And as soon as you can kind of normalize it, that's how market pressure works. So if we don't have a teacher shortage anymore, that means that we probably are paying teachers generally the right amount there. And so I think that's where we are with it. They are average for a college graduate. They make about 65,000 and it goes up from there. If they go get their master's, they go get a certification. If they're doing something specialized, they can get more. So when people say teachers don't make enough, is it just that, hey, you went and got your bachelor's, you're teaching elementary education, you're not doing any specials, you're not doing anything extra, you didn't go get your master's degree, and now you've been in the role for 5-10 years and you're mad that you don't make $80,000 a year or even $100,000 a year. And it's not a teacher issue, it's wages in general. So I think teachers make what they're supposed to make based off of what the national average is for wages. So I think that if we want to talk about increasing wages, I think we need to increase the minimum wage, and then that will push teachers up because the minimum wage went up and you had wage compression. And so teachers will start getting more. And that will push everybody up. So I do think teachers are right sized for what the wages are right now. And to your second part of that about will the education get better if we increase? Like I said, I don't think so. I think we need to put more money into the other tools, or instead of giving that one teacher, maybe bringing in coaches and actually be able to have people that can interventionists and things like that can come in and pull out, help kids get back up to the level that they need to be in. I think there's other resources that you can put around a school to help kids get better versus just giving the teacher more money. Because giving the teacher more money isn't necessarily going to change or they're not going to do many things differently from what they're teaching now and how they're teaching now. They love it or they don't. I really think it's giving them additional resources to be able to not have to deal with the kid and spend a whole lot of time with the kid that's not getting it, right? Interventionists can come in and pull them out and do that. So then I can continue to teach the class and raise the rest of the scores up. So I think it's a different way of the education versus just saying, let's just pay the teachers more and that should get our scores up, because I don't think it will.
What were your two questions again, Ferg?
My bad.
Do teachers deserve more?
Yeah, well, just about their wage. Do you think it's fair? Do they deserve more? And do you think increasing the wage would produce better results? I guess in a short.
Yeah, I don't too much like questions about what's fair, because fair is just a place with a Ferris wheel and funnel cakes.
And that's why I gave
Now, do
those
they
context in the beginning.
Yeah. Now,
You know,
now, should we pay them more? Yeah, we should. But I feel like that's an easy answer to say. With that, if you're one of those people that say we should pay teachers more, you got to be willing to possibly pay more in taxes. Although I think the way our tax money is spent, it can be reallocated to where our taxes wouldn't have to be raised and the teachers could get a raise. Razi brought up a good point about how many days in a year they work. I just want the listeners to compare that to our Congress. They work 150 days pretty much a year. Their starting salary is $174,000. On top of the fact that they get per diem for food each day and a whole lot of other perks. So I don't think looking at how many days a week they work is like the end all be all argument on why they shouldn't get a raise. And of course, good teachers, man, they work more than 8 hours a day. They're home. I watched my mom grade papers when she got home, or plan lessons for the week coming up, or even in the summertime when it's so-called they're not working. A good teacher, they go to these trainings and things like that. They're going to their classroom weeks ahead of time before school start to get it set up for what they're going to be teaching, and especially elementary, where a lot of the teaching is like very visual things on the wall and things like that. So yeah, now how much, I don't know. Pay always helps solve a shortage in a job market. So increasing that, but I don't know if we can have like a national starting salary for teachers. I know you said average, but that's just going to depend on what zip code you're teaching in, like, so. But yes, I don't know if I answered all your questions, but I'm for it.
Yeah. And I'll continue my conversation, and maybe you guys will chime in. So we had some conversations about this in Buff, like you mentioned, like my wife's a teacher. She does come home and talk about school and stuff. It takes a toll on. But there's the things I look at. I feel like I'm very practical. Just like any job, any career, it's a choice. We've had conversations about wage gaps and stuff before. And where right now in the U.S., 77% and we talk about careers that a lot of women go into and stuff like that, right? It's 77% of teachers are women. And somebody brought up, like, are we paying them less because they're women? It's like, no, people are making a choice where they're not as motivated by high earnings. And so a lot of the wage gap is based off of the fact that people are choosing careers where they know this is a part of it. None of us are in teaching right now because I don't think, for me, the wage in the life wasn't attractive to me, right? I knew that there was things that I wanted to do, and I needed to be able to earn a certain amount to live the lifestyle I wanted to live. And so when I made my career choices, I did that. So when you make a choice to do something and then you're like, well, it's unfair what we're getting paid, I'm a little confused. But at the same time, I throw in inflation, the cost of living has changed. And I feel like teachers are a necessity to the overall well-being of our country, our kids. So like, they are essential workers. And I feel like if the starting salary or the average starting salary national is $60K, maybe you put a national mandate. I don't know how they would do it, but like, I don't think a single teacher should make less than 60,000. And then you base that based off of location and stuff like that. So 60,000 in Mobile might be equivalent to 75 in Houston, which will put them at a decent earnings potential. I think the average teacher in Mobile makes about 45 to 47K. So if you're saying, hey, you get the average starting salary is $60K. Now in Mobile, I think that put them in the 80th percentile or 75th percentile of earners. I don't think it'll necessarily improve the current teachers, right? But it might improve the quality of people you're attracting. When you know that I'm in a city where now I'm in a, Mobile, I can make $30 an hour or even more than that because you're only working 187 days a year. But I'm making $60,000 a year. I only work 9 months. Would it attract more people that are more qualified? And then so you kind of just like the cost of living, you look at that. But I also think you put a criteria, especially if you want more than that. When people say teachers should make 6 figures, for most people who make 6 figures, a lot of that is performance based. Mm-hmm. If your starting salary is 60, 70, and you want to get up to 80, let's say 60, you want to get up to 80, it's a performance based. Razi, you get bonuses based off your performance, right? Or the company's performance or the school's performance. So now we collectively work towards a goal, which a teacher at Phillips who teaches 7th grade or teachers at Phillips, let's say they make $60K starting off, but Phillips gets an extra $25,000 a year based off of their performance. While at a school like maybe Booker T or something like that, where based off that criteria, they might only make $5,000 or $7,000. Would you be incentivized to perform better or bring, how do you incentivize people for doing this? Because if you told me I can make $100,000 being a teacher, you think I'm going to just be a better teacher? Like, you're going to probably take everybody's going to be a teacher, whether they're qualified or not. And they're just going to, basically
do the bare minimum. And that's a little bit of what we see.
Yeah, they found a lick.
Yeah, that's a little bit of what we see. And that's why education, they shy away from like incentives and pay for performance is what they call it, right? Because teachers started cheating. Teachers started teaching to the test, right? Instead of actually teaching the kids and everything like that. So it's one of those things that it's a very thin line or a fine line you have to be with these incentive-based programs, right? Where I'm trying to educate these kids. And then you look at, Phillips is very different. A lot of those parents at Phillips made their kids do their homework, right? They were there. They were like watching a lot of the kids at like, you talk about Booker T or like low to moderate income areas, their parents, even if they want to really be there, they may be working a second job and they can't be there to make the kid do the homework, to read with the kid at night and everything like that. So your scores get very, very different and they get very skewed. So it's just very, very hard to incentivize or put some type of variable compensation around the teaching profession.
And I think you set a curve. So based off of that, you look at the performance or expected performance of that school. Like, it would be Phillips should always be in a certain class. So if let's say the estimated bonuses or, performance bonuses, 20,000, 25,000. Phillips, to get that 25,000 at Phillips is different than getting that 25,000 out of Booker T, right? Just because of you add in those factors, right? I think teachers are, like I said, they're essential workers, and to think that some people, they go to college and they work and they're dedicated to helping our students and our kids, and it's hard for them to have a livable wage, is disheartening. I like what you said, Razi, about resources. So even if the pay isn't going up as much, if you're fine with making 60,000, but you're not a glorified babysitter, you're not worried about kids bringing guns to school and breaking up fights and having to work with certain kids, and you can do what you really want to do and what you're there for is to teach, does that make it worth it? Because we're saying a lot of times we say teachers need more money because they're doing all this extra stuff. And it's, if we can get that off their plate where they're really getting into what they love to do, they're not worried about all the extra stuff. Does that make that salary fair or feasible? Like, you know what? if I'm not breaking up fights and I'm not worried about drug overdoses and all these other things, and yeah, I'm okay with what I do. But now that I have to do this and you're putting your life in danger and you got kids cussing you out. Even when we were talking about the cameras a few weeks ago, you have protections in place. It's like, okay, this person's acting up. I got a little button I press and now there's a camera in every room and this kid's being recorded and we'll let the authorities and everybody deal with it. I don't have to go back and forth, and somebody's alerted when your camera's turned on. That means, hey, there's an incident where somebody needs to be alerted. Teachers deal with that and they keep the party going. Yeah, they're dealing with a lot of stuff. And I'm not trying to say our teachers aren't valuable. I hope that's not what's coming across. I just think, like I said, when you make a decision, and once again, they probably have the best of intentions and didn't realize how crazy these classrooms are. And then they have to make a career decision or a life decision like, yeah, I didn't get into teaching to sit there and break up fights. I didn't get into teaching to do these things. That's fair. Like, if you want me to deal with this, you need to pay me more money. I get that. But would you be willing to do these things if we were able to eliminate more of these distractions out of the classroom? And I think that's what it comes down to. I stand by it. I feel like every teacher should at least start at a $60,000 because that is a national average for starting salary with somebody with a college degree. And I feel like because they're so valuable, they need to at least be at that mark. And maybe that will attract, because we had somebody like, $60K ain't nothing. I'm like, dog, we sometimes have to look at a lot of our friend groups aren't the norm. $60K is good money for a lot of people. $60K is better than what 60% of Americans make. So it's above average. And then in 5 years, if you're making $70K, you're in the top 65, 70 percentile. So it's, to know that you have a career, you can go 4 years and do what you love to do and feed back into our kids in our community, and you can be a top earner. I think that's I don't think,
because you're looking at it as when you theoretically it's like your first career job. Yeah. So you're in your early to mid 20s. And like Razi mentioned, with the off days alone is kind of a perk too. Like, got all your holidays off. There's a lot of good paying jobs that you may have to work some Christmases or something.
Yeah, there's people making working 250 days a week. I mean, a year, making $60,000. And I was joking like, you know how many, there's a lot of we probably all have a lot of family members who have never made $60K a year. And they work their butts off overtime and all this stuff. And so it's nothing to sneeze at, but I think because of what they do, and I want what's best for our kids, I don't think just throwing money at it is the answer. I think Razi throwing resources at it, making sure they get the support they need, starting them off at something that's decent and that they can be proud of, that might attract more qualified people, because I don't know what the cost of living in DC is, but, we all three became teachers, and Razi started off at 60 because of the cost of living in Birmingham. And I started off at 70, 75, and you started off probably 90 in DC area, right out of college with a 4-year degree. That's more than, even you shook your head, but that's more than the average person in DC makes, $90K, right? Yeah. Starting out.
I was just saying I didn't make that when I first came.
And I said that to somebody, like, oh, you talking about what you first came? I'm like, no, this is based off of 2022, 2023 numbers. The average starting salary is around $61K for a college graduate. And this is, and that's, like you said, that's 60. That's a high end, right? There's people making $35K. I think my first job was like 40 something. Then with bonus, maybe 50 something. So yeah, that was 2008. I'm pretty sure it's not that much more now. So that was my question, really.
I just want to make sure, my heart says yes. I want to give teachers as much as I want to give them $100,000 a year, and I think that's where a lot of people kind of they lean on the whole heart thing and like, let's pay them more versus like looking at the economics of it all. It's like it's I hate to say it, but tax money is pie, right? There's only so much money that can go around. And so, you got to make sure that we are pushing everybody up if we want them to be up, because unfortunately that's where they've settled. They have a teachers union, and they settled on these rates for the most part, and they said here's what we should be getting and what we can get, and they want to fight for more. So I mean, I just want to make sure folks know, yes, I want to give you as much as I can, and I just really think that when you look at it in the economic standpoint of it, it's where it is for a reason. It makes sense where it is.
Yeah, I think the thing about teachers, and you made a good point, is so many people, teacher pay doesn't affect them, right? We all have kids in school, so we want the best for our kids. But Jasmine graduates how many years, Buff?
And 2 more.
In 2 years, 3 years? What's going on with the school system really don't affect you, except for them tax dollars. You want to continue to pay raise tax dollars when your daughter out of school?
Right.
You know, and I think
how
that's
a lot of
like,
people look at it.
Yeah. So that's part of it. You know, things that affects everyone gets more push.
Mm-hmm.
You know, yeah. My wife's a teacher. Do I want Z making $100,000? You bet. Hands down, right? And she can still work 8 months a year, 9 months a year. We might have to make a career decision. Like, you know what? Let's both be teachers. You know, like let's figure something out. Because I'll go to summer school and make another $30,000-$40,000, you know, for the summer, if that's what they're getting paid. So,
yeah. On the flip side, though, we have cities that will raise taxes to build a stadium for a team. So, like, I don't even know if you necessarily got to raise taxes. You might can just find the money that's already there to get them a raise. So,
yeah,
never know.
That's a whole other discussion. But I think they talk about that brings money to the city and businesses. They make a really damn good pitch.
Yeah, depend on the type of deal you make. It don't always bring. It doesn't. You always add. Just like with the Olympics and stuff. The Olympics, cities usually lose money hosting the Olympics.
Mm-hmm.
That is
don't
true.
Make money.
All right. It was a good show, fellas. Unfortunately, Buff, you didn't get a question, but we will make sure you go first next week. I'm pretty damn positive we will have a bunch to talk about. So I think it would be only fitting for you to go. Hopefully we're all smiling, but I have a feeling we won't be. So who wants to go ahead and close this out?
Oh, so wait. Yeah, okay. Never mind. Yeah.
At Rocket, we believe everyone deserves their shot at the American dream. So if you're feeling locked out of home ownership, we're here to give you back the keys. We're opening doors, breaking down walls, and doing everything we can to turn renters into owners. And we're not going to stop until we help everyone home. To find out more, visit rocket.com. Rocket, own the dream.
Can you feel it in the air? That sudden shift of mood? It's the perfect time to shed the winter blues and experience the revitalizing qualities of driving a Lincoln. It starts with the Lincoln Spring Sales Event. So step outside and visit your local Lincoln retailer or Lincoln.com for some seriously mood-enhancing offers on current and past Lincoln models. Your transformation awaits. Learn more at Lincoln.com.
So, as Ferg mentioned, alluded to rather, when this episode drops, it'll be election day tomorrow, folks. And I just want to tell all the listeners, I know people have their minds made up by now on who you're going to vote for. Whoever wins come this Tuesday or the week following or whenever we figure this thing out, there's no sense in hating the other side. I mean, let's get over it. Let's move on. Like, the other side won. You fought as hard as you could for your candidate. At the end of the day, they've been elected by, well, at least electorally, by the majority of this country. And it's important for us to try and respect that and find ways to get things done despite their election. Try to get some things done locally. I know I have a rapport with members, and I'm not saying that I'm going to get anything done, but I'm definitely going to be in their ear and saying, hey, you think the president would go for this? What'd you think about this? I've spoken to senators about Social Security before. So wherever you are, if you're motivated enough and you're upset enough about the outcome, start doing the work now, because the road to 2028 literally begins November 6th, especially if your candidate didn't win. So, start doing what you can now. And, these state elections matter. Each state is made up of their own state Senate seats and state House seats. And they have a lot to say on what goes on when it comes to your electoral votes come these presidential elections and things like that. So no sense in being angry. We've been angry long enough for about a year and a half at the other side. I'm not saying you got to come together, but let's no longer waste our energy on that. So be safe out there. Me and Ferg was talking before the show. Or maybe we were recording. I don't know, but I'm definitely fearing the worst on what can happen. So don't be a part of it. Only other thing I got, man, on some better news, the homie Goodman, Eugene Goodman, who blessed our show a couple of years ago, made it a national talking point for a few weeks. We got mentioned by all type of shows from Steve Harvey to Good Morning America, everybody. We got mentioned. I just want to share something that he put me on last year. So Eugene Goodman, each Thanksgiving, he has a whole bunch of cousins and stuff, but for whatever reason, he's his aunt's favorite, and he gets his own pie. And so he told me, he said, you know what? You deserve your own pie. And last year I told Talbot, I said, hey, I want my own sweet potato pie. And I got my own sweet potato pie. And I'm here to spread this gospel to the rest of you gentlemen out there. Fellas, if you work hard and you hold it down, this Thanksgiving coming up, get your own pie. Get your own sweet potato pie, not the family pie. It ain't the pie fair. Like Razi mentioned, taxes is like pies. Not this time. It's your own pie. All for you. Okay. So I just want to encourage fellas to talk to their ladies, talk to their aunts, their mamas, whoever does the cooking. Hey, I want my own pie. You earned it, man. You earned that pie.
Is pie the new big piece of chicken?
Yes. There you go. There you go, brother. Yes. Get your pie, man. That's all I got, man.
That's going to be the title for the show. Get your pie.
So what if you got multiple men in the house? So like you got your daddy there, your granddaddy there. So it's a bunch of pies.
Who holding it down? Who takes care of the house?
Yeah, whose house is it at?
Whoever would get the biggest piece of chicken.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's a vampire. What up, TJ? Cool, man. The only thing I got to follow up on Buff's conversation about it being election day, if you haven't voted yet, go out and vote, guys, because they are trying, and I say they because I don't want to call out any one particular side, but they are really trying to steal these votes. There have been instances of polling stations and ballot drop boxes getting lit on fire so that they could burn the ballots. People have shot at people trying to go to vote. It's been voter intimidation happening, reports of that. They are really trying to stop you from voting. They're scared of people showing up and actually voting. So make sure you exercise that right. Make sure you go vote and make sure that you're doing everything you can to have your voice heard. And on top of that, Buff talked about the road to the White House, or the road to 28 starts on November 6th. I will also echo and say that if you want to see change, go be change. Go raise your hand. Go vote. Go not just vote, but go run for these local, positions. Go try to be the DA. Go try to be, the sheriff in your town if you're in a smaller town. Go try to be, the judge if you're an attorney and things like that. We need people that have some sense to go and do these roles. And so, don't think because I don't want to leave my corporate job, or I don't want to stop teaching or whatever because I want to do this. Take that risk if it's in your heart to go do that and make a difference. And so, I'm preaching to the choir. I get that a lot. People always tell me I need to go and run for office, and I keep saying no. But I'm saying, like, if it's on your heart, go do it. And just go show up and pull the trigger on it.
Treat your vote like a test too. Mark your answers and double check. Because every year there are people that mistakenly vote for the candidate they didn't want to vote for. So mark your answers, take about 5 seconds, double check, and then submit it.
All right. We'll all talk about voting. I think we beat that dead horse. I urge people to, like I said, go out and vote, do your duty, and then leave it at the ballot box. I'm kind of with Buff. I think this has been hitting and sitting in all our souls and spirits for so long. At a certain point, we have to just let it do what it do. Don't lose, and it's easier said than done. So I think we can make a pact. We whatever happens Tuesday. How many days we need to do? How many days can we grieve before we move on?
I'm claiming Harris is going to win. Harris is going to win. So Florida, come through for you, boy. Florida,
okay.
Florida, come on, dog.
I want to see that 300.
So.
They keep saying it's possible. I want to see that 300. That 300 electoral votes.
So. But if it doesn't happen, how many days do we grieve?
You got 24 hours. And then, like I was going to say, the 7th comes, the 6th, you get the 6th. The 7th, you need to make it happen. You need to go back out there and start making moves.
I half expected, so hopefully I won't even grieve. I'm just going to shake my head. Because at the end of the day, you know what, Fert? We're going to get the president we deserve. So America, if that's who y'all want, big dog, if that's who y'all want, a man that has shown you he only cares about himself, if that's who y'all want.
But you make it sound like it's about the vote.
Are you talking about the thievery?
You make it sound like it's a vote.
Well, keep in mind who's currently in power. So whatever thievery. So you look at the swing states. Pennsylvania has a Democratic governor. Michigan has a Democratic governor. I think Wisconsin has a Democratic governor now. But Arizona has a Democratic governor.
Georgia
does not. But
North Carolina.
I don't think she's gonna win North Carolina.
Florida.
Anyway, but North Carolina has a Democratic governor.
Okay,
they got a Democratic governor.
All right.
So it's we know they'll try, but I'm just saying they have a chance at.
Well, Razi, give me to Friday. Give me the Friday, just because I think we'll still be counting come Wednesday. It's gonna be a lot.
I give you 24 hours from the announcement, from the official announcement. So if it's,
and the clock starts now.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, let me go. I gotta bathe these kids, and it is what it is. So get out to vote. 3 brothers and no sense, because this drops the day before election. So you take nothing from this. Get out to vote. 3 brothers and no sense. My bad, Buff. I'm gonna give you a chance. Tomorrow's birthday.
16 years ago, Tab and I were at the hospital as they tried to induce labor. They were not able to. So the next day on Halloween, 16 years ago, they had to help bring my baby into this world. We were in a hospital room with bags of candy. All the doctors was coming to our room. So we had no shortage of people looking in on Tab and Jasmine. Because to be polite, they would say, hey, is this the room with the candy? They would look at her vitals and stuff like that and everything, but they made sure they got them some candy. I said all that to say that 16 years ago, the happiest day of my life would happen. And my baby was born. So happy, sweet 16 birthday to you, Jasmine. I hope you enjoy what Daddy has planned for you. And I love you very, very much. Your mom does too, but this is my show, so.
And
Daddy
you love her more. We know. We voted.
I gave you your first bottle. Remember that. So
yeah. All right, I'll try this again. 3 brothers, no sense. Happy birthday, Jasmine. 6 Rules of Podcast. Listen, like, share, subscribe, comment, and most importantly, listen again. Talk to you next week. Bye-bye.